All right, so I'm going to tell you what's happening on Planet Earth 2016. By the way, you can look this up yourself. I'm just going to say this pretty rapidly because when I watch stuff, it's like on YouTube, got all the dramatic music, and the person comes up and gives the thank yous, and you're 10 minutes in before he says anything. Okay, so I'm going to be a little bit the other way, and I'm just going to kind of go, the points of what's happening. So Planet Earth 2016. So I think if people look and they look more at mankind and humanity, as opposed to just yourself maybe and trying to get through life, we actually look at the big picture. Possibly look at the idea of coming from another planet, seriously, and looking at our planet and like what is going on. Again, I think you'll find basically what's happening is there's Russia, there's China, and then there's something called the New World Order. And what that is basically is, we know the history in Russia and China in general, but the New World Order basically is the white Anglo-Saxon European last couple hundred years and more of the most richest, insane mother, of all. And, some of them are the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Kissingers, George Soros, people who like to be a little bit in the background. There's other ones. But basically, they have a shadow government. They're actually control. You might have heard me say this before, but it's really simple. It's basically you have the world bankers that own the corporations that own the politicians, including the president. So people look at TV or people walk around the conception that, our current president is in charge. He's absolutely not. He is a puppet head. So I know a lot of people know this, but there's obviously a lot of people who don't know this, okay? So I'll just carry on here. So basically, they're destroying society by design. And I know people go, well, why would they do that? They have to live on the planet too. And you're right, but you can't rationalize insanity. They have all the gold, they own everything. There's nothing that you can, when you walk out into your world, give an example of a fish tank or like, a lizard in a tank. I mean, we put an artificial environment for them, okay? But it's not actually that dissimilar for us. Maybe way back in the day, if you were like a pioneer and you want to build a house and you have land and, you were doing your thing and that's awesome. But now it's pretty much almost an automatic society. There's so many things that have been set up for us. And it's not good. And basically, I'll give you some specifics. They own the money. There is no more money the way it used to be. They own, basically they print money and there's numbers in a computer. And they own this whole system that does that. And it affects everybody. And everybody agrees with it. And that's the only reason why it's still in place. They own the Federal Reserve Bank. That started in 1913, just like the IRS did. And it's about as Federal Express. It has nothing to do with the government. They actually own our government. And these bankers do. So they're doing all these crazy things. Let's go through some really quick. Geoengineering. They're polluting the planet like crazy. You have chemtrails, HARP, geoengineering, weather modification, Monsanto, GMO food. It gets into our soil, our lungs. It makes people sick. Cancer is an all-time high. You have Fukushima, off Japan. That wasn't an accident. You have the Gulf spill in Gulf of Mexico. I know people down there that their lives have been devastated with fishing. There's whales coming up on the beach from the radiation, right? So by the way, I'm going to get to good news, okay? But these are some of the points that people got to know, So they're doing all this crazy stuff. They have underground bases. I'll get in that later and stuff like that. But there's an agenda that they're doing. So basically, it's the corporate versus the man in mankind and we the people. So you have every bad situation is not your friend down the street or somebody owns a mom and pop shop or things like that. Every single bad condition in our society, I'm telling you, is controlled by these people. Again, down through the money, the food, the education. They own all education. It's just everything they write, they control. Even the dictionary they own. They even start making people dumber and dumber and take words out of the dictionary, and it's like a whole agenda they have. The vaccines are horrible these days. There's fluoride in our water. Like I said, geoengineering. They own education. They own all the media. There's nothing you see on the media that is not scripted and totally done on what they want you to know. Absolute fact. They own entertainment. Most of the biggest stars in Hollywood are liberals or people who support them. And they're put into fame by them. A lot of times, I'm telling you, there's not a movie that's approved that doesn't go through the corporations they own. Ask yourself the last time you saw a movie that was really incredible, that you felt good as a person, or you woke up, or you wanted to go help somebody, or like, there's nothing like that comes out anymore. The art, they're degrading art to the max. The music industry. My God, look at rock and roll. I mean, there's, in Europe it's still going. In the United States, it's very much devastated. It's not because popular demand. I know tons of people in underground, the people who love rock and stuff like that. But you look around, what's being pushed and marketed is not a spiritual being, who is playing, or a human and playing an instrument and writing music, or kids in a garage. No, what they're pushing is corporate, agenda driven. Get a person, maybe has some looks, a voice. Let's write songs for them. Let's push. A couple exceptions in bands, and then you have these nostalgia bands that are coming back. But in general, what they push is nothing very creative at all. Look around; it's very degrading. A lot of the stuff that's out. Moving along, you have what's the biggest thing in history so far as the last 20 years that happened? 9/11. 9/11 was completely an inside job. If you do your own research and look, it's completely an inside job by our own CIA, our own government, parts of the military, Israel, Saudi Arabia. They needed something. Even David Rockefeller said himself, what we need now is some kind of major crisis, and the world will accept the New World Order. So 9/11 was that. There's plenty of other things before that, but that was the biggest thing. And there's been other things since then. So what's happened since then? It got the public behind invading another country, had nothing to do with it. We killed Iraq, Libya. There's actually a list of 7 countries. I should have remembered more, but basically you can look it up yourself. Now we're going after Syria, and it's always the same thing. Weapons of mass destruction, never. They're killing their own people, no. There might have been some kooky things going on, but their quality of life was so much higher. Unbelievably so much higher. If you look at pictures now of those places and you look at pictures of back then, it's a completely different world. So American democracy has brought complete devastation. What it is it's like a chess game. They're just getting through. I saw this. They're trying to take over the entire planet, which they have, except Russia and China. And if you look at the map, you'll see military bases. You'll see Russia's completely surrounded by military bases. That's what's going on right now, and that's why Putin is saying basically "fuck you," and he's exposing these people. There's a warrant out for Kissinger. He's completely said Soros cannot come into that country. These are people who are devastating society with the games that they play. So basically, all those countries are devastated, and what we did is we took all their oil and their natural resources and their gold, and we took out their leader, and we put in a puppet, and it's a puppet who's a puppet to the New World Order bankers, basically. ISIS. ISIS totally created. It's not a real group. We've funded them. We created, because how it goes is you take 2 countries, say, and you want to take over those countries. So what you do is you give this country a bunch of weapons, and then you give this country a bunch of weapons, and you get them to fight, okay? And then, after all the carnage and little babies are dead and all this, terrible stuff, then, now we own the country, the land, the resources, we put our puppets in, and we got a bank in there, let's go on to the next country. So their end game is a complete New World Order, not dissimilar to the book 1984. So terror is the new communism. It's completely created. I'm not saying there's not bad people, and of course there's people really pissed off at us because we killed a lot of men's daughters, to say the least, with all the crazy stuff that's been done. So there are people who have ill will to us, but it's been fired, it's been planned on, and they want that, because now what they want is their last thing is they can't make a new world order with a strong United States of America, with the Constitution, and specifically the Second Amendment of the right to bear arms. A lot of people don't know what that's about, but the Second Amendment has nothing to do with hunting or sport. It has to do with protecting the people from a tyrannical government. That's exactly what the Second Amendment is about. So they can't do their thing if we have guns. So then you see all the terror, you see the borders open, you see all these shootings. Do your own research. Sandy Hook was a total lie. Nobody died in Sandy Hook. You can find out yourself. Look up Robbie Parker. He's the father in the news that kept playing over and over. His daughter died. Not only is he a really bad actor, you'll see him laughing and smiling before he comes on camera. All that stuff you can check out yourself. Just, do your own research. Don't believe everything I say if you want, but at least research it yourself. So they want our guns. They want a police state in here. You got the NSA. The NSA is totally spying on us, flat out. And they needed 9/11 to do all this stuff. Okay? They keep saying it's for the terrorists. They put the TSA in place. Did you know the TSA has never, since it's been formed, has ever found one terrorist? Okay? You know how much money that is? And where's the money coming from? It's coming from the Federal Reserve Bank that keeps printing it, and they own it all, and they create the inflation, all that kind of stuff, as I mentioned. So basically, know your forms of government. The elections are complete baloney. It's all ratings. All those people up there, except maybe Rand Paul. Even Trump, I like to think he's a businessman coming through and he has his own money, he says all that, but who knows? He used to be playing golf with the Bushes and everybody else. So he says a lot of great things. He's definitely getting the media, but it's like you can't just buy all that. Look what Obama did. I remember when Obama came into office, my God, my neighbor was just crying, people honking horns and insanity. And look what happened. He was a complete Trojan horse. You can't even look at his records. Everything's confidential. Everything he said in his election campaign, he's never kept one promise. Not one. Okay? So it's like he should be in jail just for that, or at least if he was a businessman, he would have been fired. You know what I mean? And sued and put in jail. But he's a politician. This protected by the media and everybody else, So politically correct has got to go. You got to speak your mind, obviously. Justice, let's get to the solution. The solution really is just people's ability to observe and look and evaluate and question, and knowing the Constitution, knowing the Bill of Rights, and they don't teach that in school. They don't tell you at all. It's never mentioned on TV, anything like that, so it's like they don't want you to know that. So this is what's going to save the country. So I told you get to some solutions. So know your Constitution, know your Bill of Rights. Try not to get credit cards. Try not to do anything that supports corporations. Support mom and pop shops. Speak out. When you buy things every single day, they survey. So if you're going to Target and you're buying this and that compared to a mom and pop store, what's happening is they want everybody to totally depend on the government. That's socialism, and that's communism, and that's complete tyranny for you and me. And that means you have no money, you're a slave to the system, there's no creativity, there's chips and arms, there's bald heads, everybody wears the same fucking color, okay? And I'm telling you, and you might think that's crazy, but look at your history. It's completely there, So it's like a Trojan horse has come into society, and every generation they just keep picking up, and I'm sorry to say, there are some definitely smart younger people, and I've met them, but the majority of them are on psychiatric drugs. They're taking street drugs, which is already been put there by the same people. They're on eating GMO food. They're drinking their fluoride. They're getting their vaccines. Look at kids today. Sometimes their bodies, unless they come from another country. So basically, in closing, it's humanity. It's people waking up, knowing what's going on. Anything the government can give you, they can take away. So this country was founded on all of these purposes, all these points. I think some people say some of the freest time. Even like in the 70s, there were certain things. Anybody can argue about a lot of stuff, but come on, there was like so much. Things were so much less. There was a lot more freedom. Even going back further and stuff like that. But these people, the New World Order, they've created World War I, they created World War II, they financed Hitler. They alter history books. Then kids are born, they go to school, they get the history that they want you to know. It's seriously like the Truman Show. It's just like, it's seriously, just a complete facade, that's put there. So people need to see that and wake up and not agree. And I tell you, if everybody stopped paying their taxes altogether and everybody demanded that the Federal Reserve was ended and we put back gold backing up money and we put all the bankers in jail like they did it in Iceland, it's called going Icelandic. They put all their bankers in jail. You'll never hear about this on American TV. Okay, so I'll give somebody some ideas. They put all their bankers in jail for criminality, in prison. Okay, and they took over the government. There's a clause in the United States Constitution that the people can throw out our government. It's so far past that it's not even funny. So again, the New World Order are the bankers that own the corporations that own our government, and basically the people are completely affected it, and it's really sad. And they want people to come over from Obama's like, oh, let's bring in the people from Syria. That's what this country's about. We have to bring in hundreds of thousands of them. Okay, nothing against racism. I'm the most unracist person ever. I look at the person, if they good person or bad. I don't see skin color or anything like that. Okay, but the quality of life, letting those people in here to get all of our rights, no borders, and basically they want all that to happen because they want to mix the pot. They don't want any culture. They want no culture. They want the entire world, and they push this whole thing, and people get in their heads and like, well, what's wrong with having everybody together? It's love and all this stuff. No, you go there and you tell me at that time if you think it's love, okay? Because it's not. Because if they're going to be here, the government's going to pay them. We got to keep working. We being the people who are already here, and it brings down the quality of life. And basically, they want to mix the pot because that way they can bring in a new world order, and that way they can kill the United States completely and just call it the North American Union, which is Mexico, United States, and Canada, and all this stuff. So anyways, I could go on, but I hope I made the point here. Definitely food for thought, but people got to get pissed off, I'm just a guy, I play music, I have a passion, a purpose, and, I hope this made sense, and thank you.